4:35 on June the 2nd, 2020. A call to order the Budget, Finance, and Administration Committee meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the May 19th, 2020 minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before we turn over the budget discussion to Ms. Brock, I want to make a statement. It has come to my attention that the state budget will not be approved until September, October, maybe December. The state can pass a continuing resolution to continue on with the current budget. The county cannot, by law. We have to pass a new budget. The local government fund that we receive from the state of South Carolina, and their projected budget for next year is $3.7 million. That's $3.7 million in revenue. We've got a plan for the worst, pray for the best. This time last year, 1st of June, was 100% occupancy. The hotels, restaurants, and bars, all up and down the coast of South Carolina. 20% at best is the occupancy down there now. The state is losing millions, hundreds of millions, state tax, sales tax revenue, and it may continue the rest of the summer. We've got to assume that 3.7 million won't be 3.7 million. It's going to be somewhere between 0 and 3.7 million. But they've done that to us before. They've cut the local government fund. That's basically close to $4 million. It's my recommendation to this committee that we cap the new budget at the current level of $49,989,000. $49,989,000. And if, in fact, we find out later in the year that we're not going to get some other revenues in, we cut expenses. And if that's not enough, at last resort, we dip into the general fund reserve balance. As I said 2 weeks ago to the public, and in business, sometimes they say you have to say something to somebody 9 times, because I've seen all kind of stuff out there about we're going to raise taxes. I made it crystal clear twice 2 weeks ago. We're not going to have a tax increase. We're not going to have a millage increase. Not the county, not the school district. Now, are there any other statements that any other members want to make before I turn this over to Ms. Brock?
Mr. Elliott, I'd like to personally thank you for standing up and saying the right thing. Thank you very much.
Ms. Brock?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Budget, Finance, and Administration Committee. After hearing that statement, it seems that great minds almost think alike. We have seen some uncertainties over the past 2 weeks since we've last presented a budget to you. Over the past 10 days, we had diligently worked on yet another budget we had anticipated being able to present to you this evening. But after meeting with the county auditor again last Friday, we see that this volatile market that we're looking at is very volatile still. The recommendation to hold the current year's budget into the future year so that amendments could be made and cuts could potentially be looked at should the local government fund be cut, I think is the wisest choice for Oconee County. I had hoped to have some more stable information to bring to you, but that is outside of our control. In light of the events over the weekend, we can see that the local economies across the United States are going to be facing hardships much, much harder than ours. I think if there's one thing that we can be appreciative of is that we do have the budget from last year. We know that we can make it through the course of a year on that budget because we are doing so now. We do have yet another, 28 days in the current budget, and we do not appear to be going in the red in any line item specifically at this time, and I think that would be the wisest decision for this council and the only responsible decision I can make to ask of you as the administrator. Information coming into this office, of course, changes once every 24 to 48 hours, once I learn that the state may be postponing their budget beyond September, possibly into December or January. It feels that a continuing resolution, although not available to us, but in nature and ideology, would be the benefit of Oconee County and our citizens.
Any comments, discussion?
I'd just like to ask one question, if it's all right, John. Are we gonna cut the funding for Cat Bus? Because ain't nobody riding that thing.
Mr. McCall, the CAT bus funding is in a contract. It was cut to $60,000 in the proposed budget, and in the current year's budget, if that is the figure we adopt, that $60,000 will remain.
We stay at 60.
$60,000 per year, yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
John? I've had several people to ask me, when everybody else is cutting back and doing that, I'm not just in Oconee County, but the whole world. People are unemployed, people in food lines. Why would we expand our budget $4 million? And I told them that, they said we had that surplus, and they said, why can't the taxpayers have some of that surplus back? Thank you.
I don't know that that was
Well,
the
we never had any
question.
surplus.
Correct.
Ms. Brooks said we had $4 million in our last meeting.
And I'm not sure if you heard me at this current meeting, sir, just a few moments ago, but those numbers and data have changed on a consistent basis since that budget was presented to you.
Well, that's what the people had heard was the $4 million that we had that was above. No tax increase, we got that. And we've got all this tax money coming in we wasn't expecting. It's coming in, it's coming online. We got this $4 million, we can spend it. We can expand our budget, we can have double Christmas. And that's what they're asking me. That was,
Mr. Hart, the answer is what I just said. We've got in the budget $3.7 million of revenue that I'm taking out of the budget, because we may not get a dime of that from the state of South Carolina. So it just disappeared. Because I don't think we're gonna get it.
I don't think we will either.
So that's the answer to whoever's asking you that question. Well, they can call me up.
I'll give them your number.
Absolutely.
Based on the information that we had, the revenue was not from taxes. The revenue was from fees, building fees, sale of assets, sale of possible land, increased quarry, and we're going to talk about that tonight, because some of that money may need to go back into the quarry. So when we talk about revenue, it's not just taxes, and that's the one blessing that this county has, is multiple sources of revenue, and not just from real estate. We're not so dependent on real estate. We're very blessed here to have great taxation from our industry and continue moving that forward. So I think the recommendations that have came forth, I know a lot of other counties are struggling. Oconee County has done a amazing job at planning ahead for this. I know I've sat down and me and Mr. Elliott have had talks. We thought 2021 was going to be the downturn. It happened a year earlier. From those that really follow the economy, that's where everybody was holding their hand up going, 2021 is coming. And if I remember properly, you made a statement in that budget talking about, the downturn is coming, and it's here. But I think this council has done a good job, administration, and the finance department has done a really good job at helping us understand where we're headed to. Our county is in good shape. I don't want people to think that, we're shaky, because we're not. A lot of other counties are having some issues. A lot of other counties went ahead and passed a budget a couple of weeks ago and are sitting there going, hey, we may have to come back to the table because there's a lot of things changing. And so I think us pushing that out just a little bit, I wish it was like last year. We went through, had a lot of strategic planning, had several budget meetings, and we passed our budget probably earlier than I've ever known. And I know from a finance department, it was probably a lot, better that way. But, from a tornado standpoint, our finance department became, response to that. And I, she's sitting right here, I appreciate what you did during that time. That was the time that we would have sat around the round table and talked about budget and gone through these things and actually had more of a fluid document than what we have here. And this is going to continue to change.
It will.
But I think we're doing the right thing by planning ahead and really focusing on what matters. And we are focused on core stuff. We have done some great stuff through law enforcement, through fire, through vehicle replacement plan, because if we didn't do that, you're going to see a lot of counties struggle in the next 2 to 3 years. And in my opinion, Oconee County is not going to be one of those because of the efforts that we have done and the planning that we have done moving forward.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for your statement, and I agree with it. I hope that we are not where the state looks to cut when they do have to do that, but that is always a risk, and if history is any guide, it will be something we can expect. And Ms. Brock, appreciate you recognizing the relatively dire situation that our local and state and U.S. economy's in. I think office of one of the large economic groups within the Congressional Budget Office released a report today or yesterday stating that they don't expect the U.S. economy to recover back to pre-COVID levels until 2030. And so we're in this for the long run, and that's why it's so important to plan and have a long-range view of not just land use and how growth occurs, but especially budgetary, because you can't have anything if you don't have your financial house in order. So appreciate y'all taking the conservative approach. I certainly agree with you that this is not the time to expect anything more than what we have given or have received, and probably should expect less. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, when did I was not notified of anything about the changing in this. Was anybody else notified about this?
Yes, sir. The budget chairman I met with yesterday afternoon. If this was a transportation matter, I would have met with you first too. Generally, the chairman of whatever committee is the person I would meet with first.
Any other comments?
If I may, please?
Sure.
I really appreciate everyone looking at this in the way that we are. I'd really hope that we would be able to get some solid numbers into this. But knowing that we have a motion on the floor, or a potential motion later for that, the suggestion of it, I do want to address the fact that we are not ignoring the capital request for the county. We will not be ignoring the needs of Oconee County at the same time adopting the budget. So we do anticipate very likely bringing you some amendments to the current year budget as we go on into next year. This may be well into August. The budget that we adopted for the year that we're in right now had specific requests that may have been one time or were specific to this budget year. There may be some requests that are very similar that we may just get council's blessing on as we move forward. There may need to be money shifted from a capital line item into an operational line item. We're in phase 2 of several endeavors in our cybersecurity, and I know communications is all in the middle of an upgrade there. And I don't know that there won't be some changes made to particular line items, of course. I just wanted you to know that as we move forward, It doesn't mean that we're gonna just freeze, and it doesn't mean that we won't try to provide the services our citizens need while maintaining the necessary security elements and proper operations of the county zone.
And let me make that clear to the public and anybody else. That's still capped at $49,989,000.
Correct, correct.
It's just shifting things around. from
It
the
may
current
be,
budget to-
correct, because last year we specifically funded a few things, and this year there were specific requests for things. We'll be bringing any of those changes to your attention. I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that we will not be cutting services, and we hopefully not cutting any sort of operational normalcy within the county itself.
Mr. Chairman.
We'll pray that we get the $49,980,000.
We will pray, yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Ms. Brock, where this $1.5 million of selling our assets, what are those? Are you talking about the selling of Golden Corners? Is that part of the
No, sir.
$1.5 million?
No, sir?
Okay, that's what I just want to know if that was part of it.
No, sir?
Okay.
Anybody else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Make